Hi. So I have two former mastermind members joining today, and I'll let themselves introduce themselves to you and let you know who they are. So we have Tamara Zoner and Shannon Stockwell. So who wants to go first? Tell us who you are and what you do.
I can go first.
Okay.
If she wants to go first, or jump right in. I'm Tamara Zoner, like Shannon mentioned. I am a speaker, a coach, and a certified happiness trainer. And first of all, I help people clarify what they want their lives to look and feel like. And then I teach them the skills and actions and habits of happiness to help support them along that journey in creating a life that they love. Before I joined Shannon's mastermind, I had just taken my business full time after years in it as like a side hobby dream, and kind of drew my line in the sand in October of 2020, which was a scary, stupid, brave thing time to do it. And I really wanted accountability and support. And I don't remember exactly how I came across your group, Shannon, but like your vibe just shouted to me, and I just wanted to be in your energy, and your group was cool. And so I ended up talking to you and dreaming about you as well. Not only did we have Zoom conversations, we also had dream conversations in my driveway. And I was like, okay, I have to do this. I feel called to do this. And before we started the mastermind, I was basically living off of a tax return. And in the mastermind, with your guidance and your support and the push, and not doing it alone and having other women as well, I started actually making enough money to live. So, and month after month, that increased, and I was able to get out there and actually pay my bills and feel supported. And really, one of the best things, other than being able to continue in my business full time, now I'm at a year and a half, or actually, yeah, a year and a half, was the women that I met who some I knew, one I knew, and the other ones were perfect strangers, and now they're dear friends. And I feel like those are friendships that will be lifelong. And that was a beautiful experience as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that, thank you for sharing that. I know that some of you connected beyond the mastermind and met up, and yeah, just created friendships, which just like is just so cool to watch too, to be able to bring, women from around the world together and have you remain friends.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. And you and Shannon are friends.
Yeah.
And so like, what was that experience having a friend in the mastermind, as well as strangers?
Well, it was wonderful because we could take that. I mean, we had a beautiful friendship before, but then we added in this business aspect. And now when we have dinner together, like we will tonight, it's not just a fun friend time. It's also like, how can I support you in your business? And so we toss ideas around, and it's incredibly wonderful and supportive to have another entrepreneur who is, who's got my back and who also pushes me and supports me. And Shannon's amazing because she is a questioner and she doesn't let you get away with anything. She's a good friend to have. I think it's the name. I'm not sure. There's something about that name, Shannon.
We get right to business.
Yeah.
I love it. Shannon, do you want to introduce yourself and let everyone know what you do? And yeah.
Yes. I am a holistic mind-body medicine practitioner. I have my own holistic medicine business in Michigan, so brick and mortar, and I see a lot of wellness clients online as well. So I have people in multiple states that I do just wellness and some mind-body medicine coaching as well. And I started my business just about a year ago. And Tamara dragged me into the mastermind. No, I'm kidding. It was the best decision I could have made. because I started, I think I might have had like 3 clients when I started in the mastermind. And over the last year, I have served over 60 souls, either medicine, coaching, or both. So it has been like transformational. I remember, for 6 months, I worked, 6 months, I did both psychiatry. I worked in psychiatry as a psych provider. And then I weaned that job down and now I'm full time for the last 6 months in my business. So, and I remember I want to say I had 2 back-to-back $18,000 months last year, or like it was like there was a month in between, but either way, I had 2 out of 3 months were $18,000 months when I was in your mastermind, and I've only had 1 since then. So I will say that. So I've had one $18,000 month since then. Haven't yet hit 20. I am striving to do so.
So close.
I know, so close.
It's just like over that hump, and then
exactly. Yeah, I think what it was is like you have this way about you that's non-threatening. And I love how you show your own flaws, because somebody like me, who you could say neurodiverse, having ADHD and giftedness, apparently now I'm twice exceptional, but like, apparently that's what we get called. But like for me to be able to show up and not worry about, feeling, I don't know, like I have a really hard time focusing, right? And so like, I felt like I could show up just as me and never felt judged or anything like that. And I love how you own your own stuff, your anxiety and things like that. And that makes me feel so much better, quite frankly. So it was really, really profound.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I remember when you first started, you were working, I think 3 jobs or like in different places, right? And so, what we worked on right away was you letting go of some of those other jobs as your coaching business just like blew up. And so you were able to start replacing that income quickly. And then you left the one, and then you put in the notice for the next one. And so you were slowly transitioning out of those, and also learning how to, I know that you raised your rates and that you were creating more spaciousness, and because the last thing we wanted to do was replicate hustle in your own business. So how was that making that transition from, because a lot of people are there, right, where they're like, oh, I want to replace my 9 to 5 with coaching income. So like, what was that transition like?
So it was kind of hard at first because I was used to being so go, go, go. So I actually went through a period of depression where my nervous system was recalibrating, and I struggled hardcore. And at the same time, I completely had given up alcohol. And that was hard because I felt kind of disconnected, right? Like from everything, because I was noticing my mood was really low, and I was like, well, I've got to do everything I can do that, will help me. And so it was hard at first. It was hard to switch. And I, as somebody with ADHD, I struggle with the transitions between activities. Like I can go hardcore for 12 or 14 hours at work, but then expect me to like, whoo, and go home. Oh my God, no, like that's so hard. So I'm working on that. And so it was a challenge, and it was nice to have support during that time, because I, just watching somebody else, living with ease and like in their business and not not hustling and things like that. And I naturally am very energetic. I naturally have a lot of energy. So I don't, like, my business is a little bit different also because it's medicine. Like people come to me, for 1 or 2 sessions and then may come back in 3 months. So I have people like that too. And that's fine for me. I like to do different things, but like figuring out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to offer it, so it served not only my patients and clients, but also me, was a huge thing. Like I think during the mastermind, I was like offering just coaching. And I was like, I don't want to offer coaching to everybody. And so it was such a relief. We were like, why don't you just do 2 or 3 session packages? And I was like, oh, like, okay.
I can do that.
No, it's not that I needed permission. I just wasn't thinking outside the box.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I hear so many people say that, where it's like that, like awareness, or like that aha of like, oh, like I can do this thing, or like I can, it doesn't have to look like this. And just like, it just starts to open up so much.
Well, and at one point during the mastermind, I remember after I did that, I sold 9 2-session packages in a week.
Yeah. I remember the post that I was like, wait, how many times did you just get hired this week?
Yeah.
9. Okay.
It was like, duh.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about hitting your stride.
Right. And it's not overwhelming to me because I'm used to seeing 20, 25 patients a day. So,
Right.
I mean, I cap myself at 4. Like,
Wow. What
right?
a
Like,
transition.
I cap myself at
Yeah.
4, and, you know, I'm consistently over 5,000, usually over $10,000 months now, like almost always over, you know, cash months. Like, I don't even, the
Right.
whole sales thing, I don't even know. Like no, I say that because most of my patients or clients pay in full, but only recently have a lot of them, or have several, started doing payment plans. So like, it's
Gotcha.
been cash months, right? Like, yeah. So at least most months are 10,000, and some, like last week was a $5,000 week.
Nice. Well bragged.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
That's the other thing. Bragging was so instrumental in shifting mindset. Like, that's all the tools that came out of it, and the way that you helped me rethink about my business and pleasure and playfulness and building it into it was huge. Because, you know, we were raised to be doers and do, and it's supposed to look this way. And through your coaching, I learned to incorporate my self-care into my business. So it's not like I'm wasting time doing an hour each morning, which is what I do now, of exercise and meditation. That's part of my business day. Like, that is actually how I support my business, is through my own self-care, because what kind of a coach am I for self-love and care if I'm not doing it myself? And so that's part of my business day. And yeah. And the bragging was just amazing. I think that's probably one of my favorite things to come out of that, is just being held accountable to brag about myself and celebrate myself and celebrate my business and all of the little things. And it's very cool to have somebody teach you that and hold you accountable.
The bragging is huge. I will say that. Like, I have a client who she just renewed for another 6 months, but she has and I'm not naturally very positive. Okay. Like, I'm very pragmatic, and I'm okay with that. Like, I don't want to be polypositive. Like, I've told Tam, I was like, dude, if you're going to be so positive, just be unapologetic about it. Like, please. And like, because she is, and that's who she is. And like, I respect and love that. Right. For me, I can appreciate everybody's baseline, right? And it doesn't mean we can't raise our happiness set point, as she teaches, but it just means, like, it doesn't bother me if I'm having negative thoughts. I just journal about them. And then I, you know, like I still journal every day, brags and celebrations. I still journal fears every day. And I know some people, you know, some coaches are like, oh, fears are not good. No, for me, because I have a lot of fears. And I noticed that they're less now because I've already written about them enough. Like, now it's like, oh, do I feel any fear today? I think I'm good. Like, but because I've gotten them out of my conscious and subconscious mind, it's like, I've cleared the way for more success. And I still write done and decided, still to this day, done and decided at least once a week. And once a month, that's why I say I journal once a month, about an hour, hour and a half. I literally go through everything, and I look at the prior month, and I look and I see, okay, what are some of the fears that came up often? Okay, what are some of the done and decides that came up often? Where am I not showing up as this person that I've done and decided? Like, where am I not showing up as that? And how can I show up differently? I still journal every single day.
So powerful. That's so great to hear too. And it's just like, that's such a shift in not just like a personal mindset, but a business mindset. And it's just so important. And I love that you two have both really taken that on. Because the people who are like the most resistant to it, I also see are the ones who are constantly in a loop. They're constantly like coming back to like, it's not working, or this is really hard. And it's just night and day when people really start to adopt these tools and start to implement them. And they really start to see just how impactful that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about I know I'm going off script from what I had said before, but like, tell me about your experience, like in the group setting, and what was the most beneficial or like the biggest takeaways that you had from being in a mastermind versus just being in one-on-one?
I think for me, so many of us have the same questions. So every single woman who got her time with you was also teaching me something. It opened up, oh yeah. Or if it was a business question more than a mindset question, it was like, oh yeah, I could apply that in my business too. And seeing multiple people in that setting and hearing their stories and seeing what they're doing in their business is, first of all, so inspiring. And motivating. And second of all, like it always applied at least some aspect of what they were asking you or what you were coaching them through always applied to some extent to myself, my business, or my mindset, or anything. And so that it's real. And it's also, as a coach, really cool to watch you coach and to learn different skills and different ways that you question. And so not only was I there as your client, but also as your student, like watching you coach and learning from that so that I could be better at my own job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. And for me, a big part of it is like, I tend to not want to take up much space and much time. And I'm still learning how to do that. Like, I'm learning even techniques, not, like to blink more actually slows down my brain. I just learned that recently. And so, I think part of it was to, I take up the space and time, but also in front of other people, but also like, because I still had a tendency at that time to dissociate, where I'm a lot more grounded now.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing you coach other people was, I would say, at least as beneficial for me, if not more beneficial than when you coached me live on the calls. Now, at that time there was one-on-one, and that was very, very good because I didn't feel like I was being watched or anything like that. But at the time, I think watching other people, because I was afraid to take up space, like watching other people be coached, I learned so much about like the ease of it. Like sometimes you would just be like, well, why don't you just do this? And I was like, duh, like, how did we not know this? But it was so obvious seeing it, witnessing it.
Yeah. 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 And it's just like, it's sometimes simple questions like, well, I wish I could do this. Well, why can't you do that? I don't know. Okay, well then go do that. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's too, learning how to witness. You use that word, witnessing. Like we
Mm-hmm.
all had an opportunity to practice simply holding space and witnessing one another. And that's incredibly powerful. I think that's what makes that group dynamic so beneficial, is that you're learning so many skills while just being present. And like Shannon said, other Shannon, learning to take up space and step in and be visible. Like you're a huge visibility pusher, right? And as someone who it feels very comfortable being visible, it helped me show up in more places in different ways. And so, that I'm very cool with being visible in person, but online is a different story. And so having that encouragement and to also see how the other women were doing it, we just spurred each other on. We just inspired and motivated one another. And that was very, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that too. Like that you can see that, everyone has like a very different business, and this is one thing that I really love about my programs is that there are very different people who join the programs. Like they're not, it's not like cookie cutter, and they're not all coming with like the same look or the same like style or how they're doing things. And so I just see how you can learn from like, it doesn't have to look this way, or my business can look this way. And then when you see that modeled in other people, then you start to look at like, well, okay, well, how can I do this my way? Because they get to do it their way. So I don't have to do it, this certain way. So I think that's also just like a huge benefit to watch all of you really start to shine your light into your communities and then watch that ripple out.
Yeah. And it's good too to witness the people are doing it, right? Like I was able to I doubled my rates within a month of starting with you because I saw other people doing that and getting paid. And I was like, well, all right, I'm going to do that too.
Like, why can they do that, but I can't do that?
I gave myself a pay raise right out the door, and that was pretty phenomenal. So seeing people's success and going, well, if they can, I can. And it's not a competitive thing. It's like, yeah, there's an abundance where, there's an abundance and there's enough for all of us. And that is very powerful and such a support.
Yeah. So if you were to talk to somebody and they were on the fence, or they're thinking about joining, or they're worried maybe about the investment or the time commitment, what would you say to them?
I would say if you are being guided, in whatever way you are guided, if you're feeling the call, like when I hired you, I was like, fuck, I don't have this, $1,000 a month or whatever it was, right? I was like, I don't have this. And I was like, well, what I noticed was like, obviously it was worth it. Like my business exploded. I was able to quit my job, and, everybody's going to have a different experience and I have a different market. But at the same time, if I can do it, if Tam can do it, like all these other women who were in the mastermind are doing it. You can do it too. And if you feel the call, you have to trust that. Like trusting ourselves is literally it is the most important thing, I think. And then being all in, right? Like trusting yourself to make that decision, and then trusting you to hold that space and to be open and to come with a beginner's mind. I couldn't stress that enough.
Totally agreed. And for me, it pushed me. I was like, I am going to make the most of this investment. And so I'm going to make sure that I'm making enough money to pay for it. Right. And so that motivated me to talk to more clients, to double my rates, to get out there and make the phone calls that I needed to make in order to pay you. And so that, for me, that was a really important piece, was like, first of all, like Shannon said, feeling all in, feeling that call. Like I definitely felt a pull to work with you and trusted that, because that's one of my areas. Like I work on self-trust and I work on listening to my body. And I knew it was a full yes, especially when you showed up in my dreams. I was like, all right. I think the next morning we got on a secondary call, because the first time we talked, I was like, yeah, maybe it's a not right now. And that was purely money based. And then you showed up in my dream in my driveway, and we got on the call, and I was like, it's a yes, because it's a yes. And the rest, I'll figure it out. Like the how is none of my business. That's one of my mantras. It will show up for me as long as I'm taking the action toward creating what I want in my life and in my business. And so, I say freaking do it, because if you're on the fence, there are only two ways to go. So feel out which one feels good to you. And it's okay for it to feel a little scary, right? That's part of the adventure and part of the ride, and it's supposed to, because that's growth.
Totally.
And
so good.
And remember that fear and excitement feel the same in the body.
Thank you. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Oh, so good. Well, thank you so much for gassing me up. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. And I'm just so grateful for both of you and that we got to spend the 6 months together. Well, we spent longer than that, Tam.
I spent 9.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just so grateful for both of you and all that you have brought to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
So that you brought to my business. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. My absolute pleasure. All right, ladies, have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.